My name's Justin. I'm part of the Mercedes-AMG Petronas Formula One team. And in this series, we're going to take a look back at our heritage collection of Formula One cars. And we're going to tell you some of the untold stories of some of the highs and some of the lows. This is the W01, and this is where the story began. This was the first car to roll out of the factory at Brackley in the iconic silver livery of Mercedes-Benz. But to understand the recent successes of the team, you have to delve back into the past. And this is where we go back to 2008. If you actually trace the lineage of the entry of Mercedes back far enough, it goes all the way back to Tyrrell, which was sold to BAR, and then, of course, Honda. But in 2008, Honda decided, because of the global financial crisis, to pull their F1 operations. And this is where one of the greatest stories of F1 history began. Ross Brawn bought the team, and what was to follow was an iconic story in F1 history, probably a story that we'll never see again. And in 2009, not only did they go on to win the World Constructors' Championship, but also took the World Drivers' Championship with Jenson Button. Now, at the end of 2009, Mercedes decided to buy the team and, for the first time since 1955, return as a Mercedes-Benz Works team. And this was where the story started. Underneath the car, it was fundamentally still a Brawn, sharing a lot of the same designs and even some of the same parts. In fact, the car that they took to the launch in Stuttgart in January of 2010 was a Brawn chassis, which was one of only 3 to have ever been produced, but finished in the silver livery. One of the main differences with this car was the unique design of the blade roll hoop. This is completely different from all of the other teams, and it was designed to aid airflow into the engine and over the rear of the car. But it was a 2.4-litre V8 engine, slightly longer in chassis size because of the new fuel regulations. But one of the things that stands out, and which is one of the most iconic things of our car, is not only the silver, but it's also the green flash of Petronas, our title sponsor and, of course, one of our longest partners within the sport. Ironically, this particular car wasn't that successful, but it was at Petronas' home Grand Prix in Malaysia that we had our first success. And that was where Nico Rosberg took 3rd place and our first podium. This was followed up by the team by another P3 podium position in China and also Silverstone. But in preparation for this series, I've had the chance to speak to some of the designers, some of the mechanics, and some of the engineers. And one thing that ran through all of their comments was the 2 drivers. They had the team, they had the car, and now we needed those final missing pieces. We needed the young talent of Nico Rosberg, a German driver with a German team. But of course, with Ross Brawn's contacts, out of retirement, the legend of the 7-times world champion, Michael Schumacher, returned. It was a great honour from everybody on the team to be working with Michael, but one of the mechanics that I spoke to, who had worked with many Formula One drivers up and down the paddock, said that he was one of the most down-to-earth drivers he ever knew. In fact, on the first day in the garage, he knew everybody's name. You often hear stories of how Michael used to walk around the different departments at the factory to gain an understanding of what they brought to the car and the performance. This set the scene for their first year back in Formula One, and they finished 4th in the Constructors' Championship with 214 points. Next time, we're going to take a look at the 2011 W02, and we'll hear how some of the engineers weren't that complimentary about the car, and also take a deep dive into the system of KERS.